Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining this walkthrough of our workforce analytics dashboard in Tableau. Over the next 25 minutes, we are going to explore how this tech talent data can reveal patterns in salaries, experience levels, remote work dynamics, employment types, global hiring opportunities. So my goal is to just not to show you how this chart is, but also help you to understand what they mean and how we use these insights to make smarter and fairer and more strategically aligned talent decisions. So to start with, we have first data as average salary in USD by experience level and employment type, where we do have entry level, executive level, mid level, senior level, which is in the contract format. Another one, same in the full time, same in the part time as well. Total companies by size and employment type. We do have that as well, where the company size also determines the employment type. We do have here map of whole United States with the average salary comparison ranging from 143 to 163. We do have here is average salary by job title and experience level. uh, let's say we consider data analyst. We do have entry level salaries, executive level salaries, mid level salaries, senior level salaries. We do have total companies by employment type, part-time, full-time, contract. Total companies by experience level, which is also the same: senior level, entry level, executive level, and mid level. Another one, we have top 10 employer residence location, which is of the states: New York, Texas, Florida, Washington, till go to the Massachusetts. So let's dive inside to this dashboard and see what this salary analytics by the job title and experience level mean. Also, salary differences by the employment type mean, company hiring patterns by the experience level and mid and the size of company, geographic locations, remote work influence on company and employee type location. Let's move into each and every one and uncover what the story tells us. So, starting with the average salary, job title, experience. Let's begin here with one of the most important charts: average salary by job title and experience level. As we hover over these job titles, you'll notice the salary staircases levels like junior, mid-level, senior, and lead roles ideally should perform a clear progression. When they progress blurs, but say in the mid-level and senior levels are paid similarly. This is called salary compression, and it often signals retention risks. Also look for role premiums: machine learning engineer, engineers, data engineer, then senior backend engineers. These roles typically command higher salaries as compared to others. So, generic developers or support related roles. If the gap isn't presented here, this may mean market pricing isn't better being followed, or significant locations are influencing the averages of the salaries. This chart also gives us a lens to frameness, retention, risks, and competitive positioning. Overall, this is the average salary by job title and experience level for the first part. Let's dive into salary by experience level and employment type. So now let's switch to average salary by experience level and employment type. In that, we do have watch how the contract roles better behave. Contractors often show either higher rates because of because the benefits aren't included here. So if you can see, in the senior level the salary is 14 million. Here in the senior level it's same 14 million. In the similar year it's 14 million. So in the senior level there is not a lot of difference, but let's say it's in the entry level it's 12 million. Here it's 11 million, again 11 million. Lower rates if companies under price contract talent. A second important insight is how sharply increases with experience. If, let's say, full-time salaries rise steadily, but contract or freelancer salary stays flat, that suggests consistency in how this organization values skill progression. You'll also understand that whether the junior contractors earn significantly less than the junior full-time employees. This can also raise equity concerns in the entry-level job markets. So let's dive into our next format, which is the experience level workforce compensation. So this chart tells us how companies stack their workflow across the junior, mid, senior, and lead roles, which is kindly of similar thing. Healthy organizations tend to show pyramid shape. Fewer juniors are bottom, mainly mid-level progressions in the middle, and fewer seniors on the top. But in this structure, if we see this database skews heavily into senior, that it negates top 27% of structure, which is expensive and may limit future growth unless a junior pipeline is introduced for more the percentage than the senior level. Conversely, if juniors dominate, the company may struggle with complexity and long-term velocity. This view helps us to understand talent maturity, succession planning, and cost structure across the companies. So this company has almost 25% of every level. That's why this is kind of better. Let's dive into how companies distribute across the employment types: full-time, contract, and freelance. Smaller companies often rely more on contractors for flexibility. Larger companies typically prefer full-time structures with contractors filling temporarily or specific needs. By reading this chart, we can see whether this data set represents a stable full-time landscape or flexible contractor-heavy ecosystem. If these leaders understand where to source talents and where competitors may over relying on external labor. So 34% is the contract, 32% is the part-time, 33% is the full-time. So that is good to go for the company. Let's dive into company size and employment type via the location, but company size and employment type. Yeah. The tab view also explains how hiring behavior changes with the scale. Smaller companies, contractors, freelance ratios, more experimentation and cost flexibility. With the medium companies, we do have balanced of mix and full-time and core temporary contractors, often scaling delivery teams quickly. Larger companies, heavily full-time workflows, contractors use significantly for niche skills and burst of work. This is particularly valuable for workforce planning, deciding whether to invest in the recurring or partnership models. Let's dive into geographical and remote type of location. So this is the map average salary company by location. This map displays how pay varies internationally. You'll notice high cost hubs with higher salaries, lower cost regions with competitive talent, uh, strategic emerging markets where companies are increasing their presence, similar in Northern Carolina. This map also provides clarity of whether to hire the next to adjust the compensation bands or whether to expand the remote jobs. So the darker the color, the higher the salaries is what we can see. North Carolina is one of the growing in the tech hubs. So let's dive into top 10 employee residence location. This is fascinating counterpart of the company's location map. Whether when employees live in the different places for the companies or major headquartered, it tells us remote work is playing higher or major role in the high concentrations of employee in the certain countries. especially those who from company headquarters, indicate strong talent pools. This use this chart to identify natural talent uh, clusters, whether when remote workers are already thriving, market worth investing in the future hiring or no. Let's understand the remote chart ratio impact also. Before we wrap up this visual, let's talk about remote ratio, a field of dataset that measures how remotely friendly each company role is in the main dashboard. Higher remote ratios tend to distribute employee residence globally. Moderate hybrid ratios cluster employees near major urban areas. Low remote roles overlap tightly with the company locations. This understanding guides helps us to understand remote first versus the hybrid on-site strategies, cost optimization through geographic hiring, team structure planning across the time zones, so that we can have more work to be done. So to recommend this overall presentation, I do have a small experiment, whether if we use the data scientist here as a job title, this we can check as entry level job salaries is 1.8 million, in the full time as well it's 2.3 million, in the part time it's 1.7 million. Total companies size by the employment type, uh, data scientists are 36%, 22.5% for the experience level, and this is the chart of average salary for the data scientists in all over the United States, where New York being the highest to 188,000. If we consider here in the data, big data engineer senior level is 168K. Total companies by employment type, we do have 33% of full-time data scientist engineer, 34% of contract, 32% of part-time. If we have to check with the employer residence location, we do still have New York on top of that. Current employee are 117, 108 for Texas, Massachusetts still 82, California is 91. Let's consider employment type to be contract. If we use the contract, still we have 50 uh, people working in New York, Florida, and Massachusetts being on the lowest side again. If we consider a different job title, let's say business intelligence analysis, this is also the same bracket. So research scientist is also the same. So let me find out a good example of higher data scientist data set. Yeah. So let's consider a executive level of applied scientist. The salary range is 2 million to 23,000. Here it's 812,000 in the full time. Same for the part time, it's 1.5 million. Total companies we do have executives uh, for all the time is 36% of large, 22.5% of entry level. In the segment of applied scientists, we do have salary ranges of 123,000 to 200,000. In the executive level of job title, we do have applied scientist of 165,000 of the salary. We do have yes. So contract positions are 34%, 33% of the full time, 32% of the part time. Again, New York being on top, 117, Massachusetts being on 82 employees. So, yes, this is what we can see into our presentation. To sum up this presentation, I would give some strategic recommendation sections, actionable recommendation based on full dashboard. Uh, Here are some of the recommendation: talent acquisitions, the target high skill roles in the market that offers both availability and cost efficiency. use experience level salary progression to build clear promotion and hiring leaders. Remote location work optimization. Let's say if we increase the hiring in the location already showing strong employee concentration such as New York, uh, benchmark composition across job titles, build composition that's aligned to geography. So we should hire more people in Massachusetts, California, North Carolina, and all. To for the fair compensation structures, ensure salary progression is consistent and avoid compression between levels. Benchmark compensation across job titles to maintain internal equity of the company as well. So, to sum up this geographical hiring strategy using the map to see the segment, we ensure salary progression is consistent to avoid the compression between the levels. This should be all. Then we can say that. Prioritize emerging markets for scalable team expansion in all over the United States. Uh, uh, and this is us to the end of our seminar and walking you through all the 1000 employees data set in Tableau. Thank you for watching, and I hope these insights help you build a smarter, fairer, and future ready talent strategies, work, and beyond, and explore more into this Tableau format. Thank you.